Good morning. Make an entrance. We were just dancing. Yeah, and so for everyone who's just joined us online, we started off with a little dance party this morning. It's good to get the energy flowing. Welcome to Tucson New Thought. I know, I'm like, I didn't bring any water. It's all good. I'll let everybody get settled. Yeah. There they are. So I wanted to start today with a little dance, a little dance, and yeah, it does right. It brings that energy right up, and what a great song to dance to. We are family as we start this month, where the theme of the month is belonging. We are together here today as a spiritual community to celebrate and know one thing and one thing only, and that is that we are an infinite divine presence in this world, each and every one of us, and we're part of the infinite wholeness that is the only thing going on. There's only one energy, one power, one creative presence. We're all a part of that. We're not apart from it. We are a part of it. Our vision here at Tucson New Thought is to create a world that works for everyone. And sometimes we get asked, well, what does that mean? That means that we all live in harmony, we all live in peace, we all live in love, and let those things be the forefront of how we approach our expression and experience of life in this world. We provide practical tools here at Tucson New Thought to engage in personal and spiritual transformation, and that's how I believe we will ultimately achieve this vision and goal of creating a world that works for everyone. We value community, creativity, and diversity, but here's what I value most of all: love. And so as I look out on the faces of every single person in this room, here's what I recognize. I recognize love in all your faces. I recognize goodness in all of your faces. I recognize the magnificence that is you. And so since I can see it so easily, I'm going to invite you to turn around and take a look at your neighbor and recognize and see the magnificence on their faces as you greet them this morning, and let them know you are magnificent. And you are magnificent, everyone who's joined us online. So grateful that you've decided to be with us this morning. And know that you are as much in this room as every single person who's here physically. You are magnificent. There is a lot of love today. It's like when we start with a dance party, everybody's physically engaged. I'm going to come down and I will happily hug. Thank you. Yeah. I've hugged you. I'm going to hug you again. So, yes, I know. I love that I make the claim that we're all about the love, and look at the love. I know, really. We could all just pack up and go home. That's been an experience already today. So I want to remind everyone that wherever you are on your spiritual path, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, no matter what your faith tradition is, was, or has been, you're welcome here. You are welcome here. And I am so grateful that you've decided to be with us today. Let's go ahead and engage in some centering. So I'm going to invite you to relax right where you are. Just settling in for the moment. If it's comfortable and you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. Just allow your focus to fall to your breathing. Simply allowing a relaxation into the easy rhythm of your breath. While we recognize there may be distractions in the room, we can allow those to be and simply be present here and now, focused on the breath. There's nothing we need to do to make the breath happen. It just happens. No forcing, just being. Just deepen into that awareness that it's happening right here and right now. With each exhale, the body is more relaxed. Simply inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. I invite you to consider this, that wherever we go, whatever we do, everyone that we come into contact with, everyone that we are surrounded by, is a loving member of our family. All humanity is connected by love. And this is true because we are all inherently divine. Our inherent nature is divine. So imagine with each breath that you are breathing love. Breathing in the love that everyone here shares and breathing out the love that you have to share. And deepening into the recognition that this room is immersed in love. That love expands and expands and expands right from the center of your beingness.
One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. We are all one. Each and every one of us, a perfect individualized expression of an infinite divine creator. With this in mind, I know that each and every one of us sets the course for our experience of life. And right here, right now, deepening into the understanding that there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is the life of each and every one of us now. for we are all interconnected by this energy as this energy. There's only one. There's only one. There's only one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. Now gently affirm within you, repeating with your inner voice, I am here. I am fully present. I am open to a positive, inspiring experience for myself and this entire group. And with a final easy breath, I invite you to open your eyes. Start us off with dancing and get the energy up, and then I bring it down, and we're all mellow now. I've actually now put this on our service outline, the random reading and reflection. So I would like someone to give me a number between 23 and 423. 157. You were right on it. We did not, no. This is never planned. 1, 2, 3. Number from 1 to 3. 1. When we use our creative imagination and strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance whatever we have formed in thought. In this way, man becomes a co-creator with God. When we use our creative imagination, reading it again, when we use our creative imagination in strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance whatever we have formed in thought. In this way, man becomes a co-creator with God. So there's a funny thing that catches me when I read that today, because as I've said before, the Science of Mind, which is the foundational text of the philosophy of the religious science branch of New Thought, which is my background and training, was originally written in 1926, and then this is the edition from 1938, and this edition actually sort of is not Ernest Holmes in a lot of ways, and specifically what I would like to say is that he changed his mind as he developed more faith, more knowledge, and explored spirituality more and more. He was in a very different place right prior to his transition, his death in 1960. He had come to a deeper understanding of the relationship of God and man. It's not a relationship at all. It's that God is man and man is God. There's no separation between any of it. So it's funny that I read a sentence like this. In this way, man becomes co-creator with God. I would change that. And I would say, man is co-creator as God. There is no with any longer. Because to say that I can be with Marvis, I mean, we're not the same person, but we're the same energy. When I co-create as God, which is what each and every one of us is doing in our lives every single day with our thoughts, and that's how he starts. When we use our creative imagination in strong faith, and we're using our creative imagination all the time, no matter what. When we use our creative imagination in strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance whatever we have formed in thought. It creates for us, from the thing that is us,
to express as our lives. I frequently say, I'm living God's life and calling it my own. I'm experiencing God's love and calling it my own. You know, there's only one thing ever going on. That's what he's talking about here. This is in the chapter of the book called Faith. And so what is really important here is that if we are looking for change in our lives, and many of us come to these centers, many of us come to this philosophy because we are looking for change. We're looking for something different. What that requires ultimately is faith. It's faith. It's deepening into the understanding that there is only one thing happening, and we can use it. Dr. Holmes used to start his radio broadcasts. He used to do radio broadcasts. Can you imagine? Right? He used to do radio broadcasts on a weekly basis, and it would start with, there is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. That's how he started every single radio broadcast. And it was kind of this church organ. There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. And I know this because you can actually go to the Science of Mind archives and download his old radio broadcasts. They're fascinating to listen to. But we've come further along to say there is a power for good in the universe. Yes, it is greater than each and every one of us. We are individualizations of this power, but we are not the infinite power as me. We collectively make up this infinite power. So yes, it is greater than we are, and we can use it because we are it. That's it. So if you're ready to change something in your life, deepen into the faith. Remember who you are. That's the faith. Remembering who you are. You are not separate from this power. You are not something other than God. You are not something other than love. You are not something other than. You are the very thing that is creating change in your life. And so if you want that, if you want change, the first place to start is there's only one thing going on. This infinite creative love. And that's exactly who and what I am. When we can speak these words of affirmation with faith and conviction that they are the truth, then whatever we say following that is what will be. It's the way we teach affirmative prayer. If you ever start to listen when I do affirmative prayer, it always starts with, there's one thing going on, and that's who and what we are. I say it in many different ways, but that's where it all starts. And when we're rooted in that, boy, can we create magnificence in our lives. That's what he's talking about. So that's the random reading and reflection today. I'm going to invite Karim on up to help me out as we honor ceremonially all religious paths and faith traditions. Because it was Dr. Holmes' idea that as a spiritual philosophy, what he was looking to do was find the golden thread in all faith traditions, find the commonalities. And what he found ultimately is that they're all rooted in love and the golden rule. It's in every single faith tradition, the golden rule. So for each candle that we light here today, we recognize that all people, all faiths are connected as God, as spirit, as love. And it all comes from one source. It's a wholeness. And so we light our first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we hold for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. We light a candle to represent the healing of any circumstances that require divinity to be revealed. And the final candle we light is for you. This is your candle for whatever comes to mind here and now in your mind that requires illumination. Thank you. I'm not looking at my watch thinking, oh, when is this all going to be over? My watch taps me sometimes. And my watch just tapped me and says, a minute of deep breathing can improve concentration. I love when my watch is smarter than me. It tells me what to do. Stefan is not here today to play, so I've done all kinds of tracks and things to be our musical inspiration today. This is a song that I have wanted to sing for a really long time, and I'm really excited to sing it, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it when I'm done singing it. Hit it, Aiden. Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. Although this weight is stringing us along, no, you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might let you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might let you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home. You wanna ooh with me? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I love that song. I love that song, and I've never really listened to it until I had to learn it. And it's an interesting thing I was saying this morning that I'm like, I want to sing this song, and I want to sing this song, and I want to sing this song, and then I learned, I'm like, this song does nothing. Like, lyrically, it goes nowhere. Like, it's a funny thing, because I come from a musical theater background where every song tells a story, and there's got to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like, you have a journey through the song. I'm like, this song really does nothing lyrically, but it's just fun, right? Like, and that, like, 60% of it is oohs. Like, what could be better than that? Just get into it and ooh, ooh, ooh. Except that this occurred to me as I was singing the song. Nothing I wrote in any notes today, because that's the way Spirit works. So, settle down. It'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons. They fill you with fear. I was like, oh, well, that's something to talk about. That is something to talk about. So what are these demons? What are these demons? What are the demons that we have? Because here's ultimately what I would say. All the demons that we can look at and see in our experience of life, they're all in here. 100%. Now, we may look out there and say, I'm being victimized, I'm being demonized by something out there. But here's and this is the hard part. And I'm going to put a big old caveat on this. When you hear me say what I'm about to say, I am not saying that you are to blame for your experience of life. But whatever shows up in our lives, if we are being demonized by it, we created it. That's not to say that we are to blame for it, because here's the thing, we all do it. I have had many demons show up in my life in physical manifestations, and now I recognize and say, oh, I can see that was something that was in my own mind that is now showing up in my experience. And here's the good news. Rather than going down the road of, beating myself up, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Anyone know? Like, rather than doing that, I can say, great, I am illuminated in this moment in recognizing this demon in physical form that has shown up in my life, and I get to do something about it. Because here's the thing, that's the power. If I created it, I can recreate it. But that was last week's talk. I can allow myself to recreate the idea in mind that brought that one thing into my experience and say, you know what? Whatever it was that I felt required this in my experience, I require it no longer. I let it slip away. In mind first, and it follows in form. Everything in form follows the mind, no matter what, 100% of the time. So, don't pay no mind to the demons. They fill you with fear. If we are filled with fear, we can't do anything about it. So one of the things that we do is combat fear. We combat fear with one thing and one thing only, love. That's it. You know, I'm sure you've all heard the acronym that people use, fear is false evidence appearing real. And I hold to that, definitely hold to that. And I use lots of vibrant energy, love, to combat false evidence appearing real. Love combats fear. And when we give into lots of vibrant energy, love, then we get to change our lives for the better. And we can do this as a community. So that's the other part of the song. The reason I chose this song is because to say, no, you're not alone. You are not alone in any of this. I'm going to make this place your home. That's my desire, is to give you the opportunity to have a place where you know that you belong, that you will receive nothing but love. Nothing but love. Because when I look out at you and I say, I see only magnificence, I see only love in the faces of every single person I encounter, I hold to that. This is part of my spiritual practice. It's challenged. Not here. It's challenged when I watch Senate hearings. It's challenged when I see the news. It's challenged when I see things happen in my vicinity out in the world that maybe don't feel so good. It does get challenged. But it is my responsibility to not be driven to fear by those demons, It is my responsibility to fall back into love. To fall back into love. So what is belonging? This month's theme is belonging. What is belonging? Belonging. What does it mean to belong? Belonging is a decision, ultimately. It's a decision. You get to decide where and how you belong. And I'm grateful that, so I talk to people in the field. We call it the field of ministry, right? All the time. I talk to my mentors, I talk to other ministers, and they all knowing that I've started this new work this year, and that we launched in March, and then we are at this we're at this point of our expression as a spiritual community. There's a funny thing that happens. They all go, so how's it going? And the big thing is, what are your numbers like on a Sunday? I'm like, oh, well, first of all, quantity does not outweigh quality. I am less concerned with the numbers of, as we say, butts in the seats. I am less concerned with the numbers of butts in the seats. I'm more interested in what is the quality of the community that I'm attracting. And I would say I am attracting a very high quality community, because there you are. There you are. Absolutely. And then they say, well, how did they find you? I said, well, and I go through the stories like, well, there was a center, and then there wasn't a center, and then there's this other center, and then, there's all the stories that I hear. And I said, but here's the deal. There is an energy that we are all experiencing together. Because as I say, I don't want this to be the Jonathan Zenz show every week. It kind of is right now, but I'm going to be working with that. We are a community that has found each other. And they say, so do you have people coming back? I said, yes. I said, I have a great core of very involved people. And I'm so grateful because they get it. They know who they are, and they're showing up, and we get to celebrate that every single week. But ultimately, you're the ones who decided to be here. You're the ones who decided to belong to this expression. And you could just as easily say, well, I got what I needed, and now I'm going to move to the next thing. And that's okay too. That's okay too. But I will tell you, my decision is to be here. My decision is to be here, to be present, and to be a vessel for the perfect flow of Spirit as me, expressed by means of me. That's my decision as a minister. So we all create all the time. I've been talking about that this morning. We all create all the time. And when we talk about being in community, what we're really talking about is creating what I'm going to use a jargon term here. So if this is your first time, don't allow this to make you want to go run screaming for the door. The jargony term I'm going to use is this. We have collectively created what we call in this philosophy a race consciousness. A race consciousness. Now, that is not related to ethnicity. It is not related to race. It is not related to gender. It is not related to anything except that we have created a decision to be a collective, unified whole experience and expression of this divinity right here and right now. And with that comes a shared consciousness. So maybe I'm going to change the jargon, because Ernest Holmes would say race consciousness. And he said, if you're still studying this in 50 years, you didn't figure it out. And I'm going to say, we have a collectively shared consciousness in this room. That's what he means when he says race consciousness in the book. It's a collectively shared consciousness. And we can create from that collectively shared consciousness. In fact, we're doing it all the time. This expression and experience right here is a creation of the collective consciousness. Perhaps at one point it was rooted in my individualized idea, but you are now participating in that. Each and every one of you. Whether you were dragged here or not, and I just, I give a wink and a nod to those people who are here for the first time and came with friends and family. Whether you were dragged here or not, you are here on purpose. You are here on purpose, because there is a purpose within you that said, whether you are aware of it or not, I am going to be spiritually fed today in some way. And maybe not everything I say, and I'm sorry I keep going to you because I know you're new, but I'm going to say it over here. Everything I say may not necessarily be something that resonates with you, but I guarantee you at least one thing I say will resonate with you. One thing. You may walk away here today with one thing. And boy, it will have been worth it. Because that one thing is now going to set a new course for your life. We have this power. None of us, I went through schooling, I went through training to become a minister, to be able to stand up here as a voice of authority. Where does that authority come from? Not from school. It comes from my decision to live from this point of view, that there is a flow of energy always happening by means of me. But you all can do it too. There's no reason any number of you could not be up here doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. Most people don't do it because they live in fear around what the truth of their beingness is actually going to express. Boy, I'll tell you, I had to get over that. I've talked about being an actor and that I became a better actor after I became a minister. And it's because I found the authentic me that I could then bring to roles when I was acting. Before, when I was an actor and I was not in this philosophy, I thought, I'm putting on a mask and I'm hiding behind wardrobe and I'm becoming somebody else. I'm not becoming anybody else. The best actors in the world are completely themselves within the confines and context of the role. Think about Meryl Streep. I would argue Meryl Streep is by far, this is my opinion, but I'm going to argue it. Meryl Streep is by far the most brilliant living actor on the planet today. This is a woman who is Meryl Streep in every single role she does, given the confines of the character. And we love it because she has authenticity behind all of it. Imagine if we all approached our lives with authenticity, truly behind everything we do, instead of deciding at some point these demons that show up in our life mean we have to put up a wall. We have to wear a mask. We have to hide. The thing that ultimately gets those demons and suppresses them and gets them out of our experience is authenticity. And you know what your authenticity is? You are God. People have a hard time hearing that. Have a hard time hearing that. But logically, and I use the word God as shorthand for the infinite creative power, this energy. It's not some being out there. It is the beingness of all things that exist. It is the energy behind all things that exist. So I just use the word God to mean that. Greatness on demand, good orderly direction. I love acronyms. I don't know if you know that. So here's the logic. If we claim, as we do in this philosophy, and frankly, in most faith traditions, there is a claim that God is all there is, how could we possibly believe that we were something separate from that? Because then God would not be all there is. That's just logic. If God is infinite and we exist, we're part of infinity. To think that we are somehow separate from infinity makes us limited and makes that limited. It's not infinity any longer. So, my desire at the end of the day is to truly, truly express in my own life that I am God, you are God, we are God, because that's ultimately what I think is going to create a world that works for everyone. When we can each of us stand in our own power, not in a way that is going to suppress anyone else, because that's the way some people want to use the power, but with the power to say, I am here, I am God, I know that's true of you, and that becomes the great equalizer. The great equalizer, because when I know who I am and I know who you are, that's true namaste. That is the recognition of that which is within me. The loving presence that is within me is exactly the same as the loving presence within each and every one of you. Are you ready to belong to that? I am God, and so are you. It's funny, I don't usually go to the Bible, but I looked it up this morning. So in Matthew, chapter 15, verse 20, Jesus is purported to have said where 2 or 3 are gathered together. You know that? It's basically saying when you gather together as a collective community in prayer, there is power in that. Now, that is misattributed quite frequently because it's actually relating back to the Old Testament. I could tell you a whole story about that. It's not really the point of this. But a lot of people take that and say, well, then as a community, we've created a race consciousness, a shared consciousness, and from that, we can collectively create. That is true. Ernest Holmes also says this: one alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. Have you ever walked into a room? Just checking in if you've had this experience. You walk into the room and you instantly feel a depressed or repressed energy in the room. Is there anyone who has never had that experience? I had that experience just the other day. I actually walked in to a place of business that will go unnamed. But well, it was dedicated, where we were doing our meetings for a little while. And it was a challenging day for everyone who was at dedicated, right? I walked in, I was like, whoa, the energy in this building right now is not an energy that feels comfortable or one I want to be in. And here's the power that I have. I can walk into that energy and I can say, one alone in consciousness constitutes a complete majority, and I alone can shift the energy in that room with my loving presence. Each and every one of us has that capacity. But we have to check in when we feel that energy. Are we walking in and going, oh, there's this energy that I'm now going to align myself with? Or, oh, there's this energy. I'm a beacon of love, and that's all that I accept. And so I know that my energy precedes me, and I can change the entire tone of this room. We all have this power. And I'll tell you what, if you are that kind of person, you're going to attract more people into your life, because they're going to do like when Harry met Sally. I'll have what he's having, or I'll have what she's having. So how are you going to use this infinite power that is at your disposal? That's the big question. How are you going to use the power? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded or not? I could very easily surround myself with people who are not like-minded. That would be a very depressing life. That would be a very depressing life. Are you surrounding yourself with people who are deciding to live in service in a way that is evolutionary? You know, I decided to call this work, this expression of life, of service, of gratitude, Tucson New Thought, a center for spiritual evolution, because I understand and want to engage in that which is always moving forward and always changing, to expand and grow and expand and grow and expand and grow. That, to me, is what evolution is. I love the Centers for Spiritual Living. That is where my credential is held. You know, if we're buying into pieces of paper that say, you are credentialed to be a minister, which is great. I worked very hard for that, and I don't want to disparage that. But I don't want to just be a center for spiritual living. I want to be a center for spiritual evolution. I am interested in change. I am interested in moving forward and doing this as a community. That's what I want. And so I will keep showing up with that idea in mind, week after week after week. And I look to also the expansion of how else, in what other ways does this show up in the world? I've had requests, and I am working on how this is going to work out. I've had requests for, an ongoing spiritual discussion group, right? I think that the Sundays where I was not here was a lovely experience to have a discussion, not just have a lecture. Even though I do like to think that I'm entertaining as a lecturer. It's the tangent, right? I once talked about the difference between a sermon and a lecture, because I try not to use churchy terms, right? So I will say lecture a lot of the time, but here's the thing about lectures. Lectures are meant to teach. Sermons are meant to inspire. So I'm looking for the marriage of the two, because I think it's important that we all walk away from this experience having learned something, but mostly I want to inspire. So that what happens when you've learned something and you are inspired in that learning, you actually take it to heart and express as that in your life. We could all read the book, right? We could all read the book, or the many books that Ernest Holmes wrote, the many works of Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, the many works of Thomas Troward, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. These are all people who are new thoughters, right? We could read all of those books. They will do nothing for us if they're just intellectually understood. The step that we must take is being inspired into action by them and based on the love that they're all sharing and teaching. That's what I commit myself to do here. So, whomever you are, here's my message to you today. You belong. You belong. I will always hold you in my heart. You belong here. You belong. Wherever you decide to be, you belong. And belonging, like I said, is a decision. I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. I know that you belong here because I see you as love and light. That's the only way I understand the faces of every single person I encounter. There is a song, "You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God." I will sing that. I'm going to sing it on a very special occasion, though. I've already decided when I'm going to sing that song. And we're going to sing it as a community. Together, we can shift the consciousness of any experience. We can walk into that room where there's a depressed energy, and we can change that room. We can do that individually. We can do it as a community. We can change any room. We can change any political system. We can change the world, rooted in this idea that we are here to create a world that works for everyone. Everyone. Not just people who are in New Thought. Everyone. It's one of those things that makes me crazy when I go to conferences. I love my peers, but if I hear one more time, "We have the greatest teaching in the world," I'm going to spit. We have a great teaching. It is not the greatest teaching in the world. I would never claim that this is the greatest teaching in the world. This is a teaching that works for me. This is the greatest teaching in my world. We must be on the journey of understanding what it is that works for each and every one of us. That's the other thing, get out there, explore and express and really inhabit the world and find what works. Find what works. Because this may not be it. That's okay too. Find what works for you. I always say technique is anything that works. And then I've had people come back and say, "Well, if you're learning ballet, technique is very important." I say, yeah, technique is very important. You learn that particular technique. They teach it because it works for that particular training, that particular line of dance. And once you know that and you've embodied the technique, you get to expand beyond that. And then you get to develop your own sense of technique so that you can become a Mikhail Baryshnikov or whomever you, I don't know if anyone watches ballet anymore. I love ballet. But I love really modern ballet too. When I lived in Los Angeles, I would always go see ABT, the American Ballet Theater, because they were always innovative in the way that they expressed through movement as in dance. I love it. There's a core of technique, yes, but they have expanded beyond that. So, we can shift the consciousness. We can become agents of change most effectively when we affirm the good. Let us affirm the good right here and right now. Say, "I am here. I am here. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am light. I am harmony. I am wisdom. I am power." How do you feel? Yeah. Yeah. Love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy, and wisdom. And harmony. Those, yes, and harmony. Those are the attributes that Thomas Troward expressed and said, these are the attributes of the divine. The truth is, they're the attributes at the core of each and every one of us. So wake up every morning and make an affirmation. Set your tone for the day by affirming the good and remembering that you always have a community that you can come to and have the experience of deeper knowing of those very things. I just laughed because I don't really even follow notes anymore. Yeah, it's good. It's actually really good. I think it's really good because it means that whatever is coming through is authentic and it's like allowing. I had an experience, and this is really what this is really what I'm going to close with, is this. I had an experience the other day where I walked into a group of people who don't necessarily they're not within this philosophy. They know that I'm a minister in this philosophy. And I had one of those people in the group who tends to be a little bit more on the dour side say to me, "How is it that you stay positive all the time?" I said, "You know what? It's a decision. It's a decision. I have decided to remain positive in my life. I have decided to look for the light in life. Yeah, I've been challenged. I will say, politically, I've been challenged a lot in the last couple weeks. But I'm looking for the light. Because here's the thing that I know. Regardless of the shadow that we see happening in the world, and we see a lot of shadow these days, it's being presented quite a lot. It gives us the opportunity as a community to say, we are light and we are going to cast light on the shadow. That's the choice that we can make. But we have to make the choice. How is it that I stay positive all the time? I decide to be positive. I decide to live love. I decide to be happy. And in fact, most people, when they're unhappy, it's a decision to be unhappy because our natural state of being is happy. I'm just deciding to live according to my natural state of being and give into that and allow that to flow forth. So let's commit, each and every one of us, what do you say, to a more loving, a more peaceful, and a more just experience of life, a more just world. To me, that is in service to creating a world that works for everyone. When we decide individually to be the light. That's the truth. And that's all I have to say. Namaste. So thank you so much. Tucson New Thought. We are here. We are a community that is growing gratefully. I'm grateful for the growth. And we are supported through your generosity. So I'm going to invite you to take out whatever it is that you're offering the center today, your investment, your gift, your contribution, doesn't matter what you call it. In the class that just completed, we call it sharing. It's just sharing our wealth. The consciousness of giving is a starting point which engages the experience of receiving, because as we give, we open up the floodgates to receiving as well. And when we're open in the flow and we unkink the hose, boy, life becomes more abundant and more prosperous. So you have options for giving. You can give, if you're watching us online, you can give online by clicking the link in the description field for this video. You can give in person here. There are some people who made their commitment by giving in a recurring way. You can sign up to do recurring giving on our website with a credit card. So if that is appealing to you, I invite you to do that. And then you get a little stone and you can put that in the basket as it goes by. Money is love in action, and I honor your investment in love and action. So let's read together the divine givingness statement on our programs. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so William is going to gratefully pass the basket around. I want to say, I chose to, this has been used in other centers, and I chose to say, joys that contribute to the vision of my spiritual center instead of this spiritual center, partially because I want each of us to take ownership in this spiritual center, but also to realize that you're giving to your own spiritual center. And that's also really important. William. Yes. I also want to let you all know we have needs as we continue to grow. We have needs. If you are, so Marvis was our lovely greeter this morning. I'm grateful to you for stepping in and greeting everyone as they walked through the door. If you would like to be a greeter, there's a sign-up sheet there. If you'd like to help out with hospitality, we also encourage that. You brought hospitality today, so thank you, William and Anita, for providing some hospitality, a little munchie and a little something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find out. Chocolate, of course. You're after my own heart, like. Also, I've had a request, and I just want you to know, I'm going to add this to the Tucson New Thought website, which is at tucsonnewthought.org, and I'm going to put together also some slips of paper that you can provide. If you have something that you'd like prayer on, there's going to be more opportunity for you to make prayer requests, and I, as a minister, my number one go-to as a spiritual practice is prayer, because I do believe that prayer is the number one tool we have for changing our lives for the better. So if there's something that is weighing on you, reach out. You can send me an email at tucsonnewthought@gmail.com, and I believe that's on the program. But I'm also going to put a form on the website so that if you wanted to go to the website and just put in whatever your request is, it will come to me, and I will do prayer right then and there. So that's something that's been requested. Also, because this is the month of belonging, I've decided that this is also an appropriate month to say, let's start determining membership, because as an organization, part of our bylaws are to have an established membership. So if this is a place that calls to you on this point, at this point of your spiritual journey, there are membership forms which you can fill out, and you can become an official member of Tucson New Thought. Here's what I want to say. Membership, and it says this right on the form. It says, membership is a personal commitment. It is an acknowledgement that this is the right place for you at this time of your life experience. If you find something better, you can go do something else. Just saying, if you want to make a commitment, I welcome the commitment. It also allows you the opportunity to be a voting member when we do have our annual meetings. And because of the bylaws, to be able to vote, you would need to be a voting member. I want to thank everyone for showing up today. I want to thank John, as always, for providing us this beautiful home, this beautiful space to gather in on Sundays. I want to I've already thanked William and Anita and Marvis for providing hospitality and being our greeter today. I want to thank everyone who's watching us online. I want to thank Aiden for providing our technical support. And every week he walks in and he's so cool and relaxed about it, because he's like, oh, there's no stuff on today? I'm like, nope. I'm like, here's the iPad and here's how you hit the music cues. He just goes with the flow. He's very laid back. I want to thank Karimon for helping out with the candles today, as always. But really, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to relax into this final moment and simply allow. I'm going to start off with settling into gratitude. Gratitude for the deepest understanding that right here and right now, we are all connected in wholeness. We are all connected in love. And we are all connected in light. And whatever experiences may be unfolding in the world of form, we are each of us greater than the individualized experience. And so we are in a place of power, rooted in love, to make change. This is the truth.
There is a light that guides you through the storm. There is a place place of healing and calm. There is a peace that lives beneath the waves, beneath the sorrow and the joy. There is a stillness and grace. Your tears like rain falling from the skies. It is divine love that's pouring from your eyes. The wounds of life, they bring healing, my friend. The heart that breaks is but opening again. The heart that breaks is but opening again. There is a light that guides you through the storm. There is a place of healing and calm. There is a peace that lives beneath the waves, beneath the sorrow and the joy. There is a stillness and grace. Your tears like rain falling from the skies. It is God's love that's pouring from your eyes. The wounds of life, they bring healing, my friend. The heart that breaks is but opening again. The heart that breaks is but opening again. There is a light. There is a light. And you are the light. Namaste.
And then we dance out of here.